Yesterday I did a video speaking about the hiring of this Steph individual to Twitch's Safety Advisory Council, and I highlighted mental illness in the video. Most people have been talking about this and speaking about the fact that this man who thinks that he's a woman, who then she thinks she's a male deer, is just an insane story. And a lot of people don't know how to approach it, which is why I approached this from the mental health perspective in that video. I really do believe that that has a lot to do with where we are in our culture, that people who need help have been used, just like other segments of the population have been used by SJWs, by far leftists, by some people in the Democratic Party, which breaks my heart because I'd always voted Democrat in my life. That these groups have been used as shields to create division and hate, to divide the population and keep us mad at one another. In an age, in the 21st century, when we should be living the dream of something like Gene Roddenberry, something like Martin Luther King, where we should be living in a time where a person is not judged by what they are, they're judged by who they are, the merit of their character. This has been supported by misinformation and propaganda. Misinformation and propaganda that has been espoused by not only these SJWs and far leftists, groups like Antifa, groups like Black Lives Matter, these concentrated hate groups, but also by the media that is controlled through like-minded individuals. The media has not wasted any time whatsoever, such as Newsweek that we see here, beginning to use this person who needs help, who should get help, and I hope that they do get help. I honestly do. I have no hate toward Steph at all. She is being used, and I use she because that I would believe is her preferred pronoun. This whole pronoun mess is, I'm just going to say it because when I speak about trans people in public, I don't do it because I feel the need to capitulate to someone else's ideology. I'm doing it as a social grace. And I hope that she gets the help that she needs, although she identifies as a male deer. So it's just all contrived. And this is where we're at. And that's the point that I was trying to make in the other video, is that mental illness has run so rampant and has been used as a shield by SJWs for so long, along with other groups, that everything is convoluted. And I think that that's the point, to spread misinformation to the point where people don't know what's what, don't know what's up and what's down. And all of this has been supported by major media. You can go back to the time of Gamergate and see how Zoe Quinn and Anita Sarkeesian were presented to the public, and those are really nasty people. But they were on CNN being treated like darlings, completely disregarding the actual issue of ethics in journalism and promoting the idea that gamers are nothing but alt-right, sexist, racist, blah, blah, blah. The narrative by now. The same thing that's been thrown at people in Comicsgate, the same thing for the Fandom Menace. These are all consumer movements and have been. I mean, ethics in journalism, I believe, is a consumer movement, as is fighting against the comic book industry with the injection of identity politics and using that platform to create division, hate, and bigotry. And the same thing with Star Wars and Star Trek under Disney Lucasfilm and CBS All Access and Chris Chibnall at BBC Doctor Who. These are all examples of media being used to espouse division and hate, to segregate us, to divide us, to make us fight with one another, to expound upon existing divisions and then turn them hyperbolic. Not that there hasn't always been people who believe strongly about their opinions in as far as culture, politics, and policy, but really, we're all being used. All of us. All of us are being used by major media like Newsweek, who comes out with this article. Twitch announces Safety Advisory Council while member immediately deals with harassment. Criticism in today's day and age, having an opinion that does not toe a specific line, is harassment. And we're not going to go into this article because it's garbage. You can go read it yourself. It's all propaganda and garbage. But it made me think, as a man who has researched several pagan belief systems, I know that in many different belief systems across the world that have existed and exist today, that people use animal totems. They have spirit animals. I myself am a person who have always felt strongly akin to wolves. I always considered myself a lone wolf. Or mythical animals like dragons. I love dragons. That doesn't mean that I necessarily believe I'm a dragon, or I believe that I'm a wolf. And if I did so, I would hope that one of my friends would point out that that is not the case, and would help to get me mentally sound. The problem is that today, no one's doing that for this Steph person. As a matter of fact, as we can see from the videos where she's being given a deergasm, oh, for the Lord of God, by another person who I would assume is mentally ill, or taking advantage of the mentally ill, is reinforcing this idea in this person who needs help. So I think back to the past, and I thought to myself, how would one of these civilizations who have used animal totems, who feel they work in tandem with animal spirits, how would they feel about this? Hey, Bob. Hey, Gary. We need to talk about Joey. What's wrong with Joey? Well, Joey thinks he's a deer. Joey thinks he's a deer? Yeah. Like a spirit animal? Nah. Like a real deer? Yeah. Did Joey get hit on the head? Nope. Has he been drinking white people water? Maybe. What's he doing? Joey's eating grass. Like pot? Nope. Like real grass? Yup. You're bullshitting me. Look, Joey says he's a girl now, too. Like gay? Nope. Like a girl? Yup. Then Joey made a headdress with antlers, and now she is a male deer. I don't even know what to say to that. That's pretty much how the whole tribe feels. We can't have this. What if a warring tribe shows up and Joey's wearing a dress and eating grass? We can blame it on white people. This is a bad look. I say we smack Joey over the head with a club, hog tie and blindfold him, take him to the Great Canyon and leave him there. Word. One of the biggest problems with SJW culture, far leftists, Antifa, socialist Democrats, one of the biggest problems with these types of groups is that they ignore everything from the past. They do not respect the past. They don't look at the achievements of past civil rights leaders. They don't look at women's suffrage, or the universal suffrage, the civil rights movement, the rise of first wave feminism, which I tend to agree with. From what I understand, the original feminist philosophy was about equality and empowerment. Being a woman not only being looked at as an equal in the workforce and in society, but also having the same opportunities and availabilities to be themselves as men within their gender role. And I completely support that. But when we look at how the division has been created in the last, 10 years by people who support the Democratic Party, people who say they're fighting for equality, in a party that has historically always held these groups down and marginalized them, the hypocrisy is insane. And I think back to people that I look to, people that I believe are American heroes, like Martin Luther King. I look at what MLK says about wanting to be judged on the merit of your character and not the tone of your skin. I can empathize with that. And I believe no matter who you are, no matter who you sleep with, no matter who you are, across the board, we should all have the same rights and privileges. And I think back to that time of MLK, and I wonder how would they feel about all of the work that the civil rights movements had done being undone in an age where we should be living the Roddenberry dream. Brother Martin. Yes, Sister Rosa? I wanted to let you know that your dream lived in the future. That's great. I'm glad I didn't die for nothing. But it only lasted for like 10 years. What? Yup. What the crap happened? White people. Again? Yup. How? Just when the United States was about to achieve real equality for all, this group of online bigots came out of nowhere and began espousing racism and sexism and labeling anyone who didn't agree with them as racist and sexist. What's online? It's like interactive TV. How did these people get away with such hypocritical bigotry? Well, they're backed by rich whites, Democrats, and most news outlets that facilitate this false narrative about detractors. I told y'all not to trust a white liberal, but I had a dream. Look, I said this shit on black and white TV long before the online. I said the white liberal had no interest in elevating our black brothers and sisters. Now they have control over the media, again, control over hate groups, again, and inspire fear and misinformation about minorities as they elevate themselves to higher office, again. But what about the dream? Oh, just wait. Rosa, tell him about the deer person. The what? Yup. What's a deer person? What Brother Malcolm is talking about is a concerted misinformation campaign by the white liberal that has flipped the script on racism, so now it's the Republicans who are racist. What? Yup. Mm-hmm. But it was a white liberal that assassinated me. And Brother Malcolm. Mm-hmm. So then the government shut down all the insane asylums and allowed the pharmaceutical companies to experiment on the population with experimental drugs for decades without providing actual health care. No, they didn't. Mm-hmm. Then they began dumbing down the population with inadequate educational standards, using media to espouse propaganda to the general population. And then after decades of fighting for civil rights all the way into the 90s, I love me some NWA. And the rift between whites and blacks was finally closing, as most people respected one another for the merit of their character and not the tone of their skin. Rich white liberals began a campaign of misinformation that supported these undiagnosed, mentally ill, uneducated, propagandized groups into believing that there had never been any civil rights movements and that America was more racist and sexist than ever before. I told y'all more than a half a century ago on black and white TV not to trust the white liberal. This campaign of fear peddling, hate mongering, misinformation, inadequate medical care, and ignoring past civil rights achievements has led to a major media company hiring and celebrating a man who thinks he's a woman who thinks she's a male deer. Damn. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I do wish we had a time machine and we could go back and just speak with some of these leaders, some of these truly socially progressive people who fought, marched, died for equality. I wish I could go back in time and speak to them and show them clips of today's day and age, the age we live in, where people with legit conditions are celebrated, not treated, not helped, but celebrated. I don't know what they would say. I can only guess. I can only infer from what I've read about some of these individuals. But I hope that you enjoyed my satire because that's kind of how I see it. Like I said, I hope that Steph finds the help that she needs. I feel that Twitch is an evil corporation who is using this person to virtue signal. I think that this is sickening. Honestly, this in the same way that I feel every SJW who pushes some kind of an illness or says that they are protecting different segments of our population while basically drumming them out using cancel culture if any one of these people disagree with their opinions. This is what we're fighting. This is why this culture war needs to be fought. And I'm not saying by any stretch that you need to vote Republican, that you need to have right-leaning values, because I don't. What I'm saying is that we need to get back to a place where reality is the compass. I don't think it matters what sexuality you are, where you fall in the social, political line, if you even care about these things. It is time for us to unite as a people, as consumers, as brothers and sisters on this earth. It is time for us to unite and tell the media who pushes this garbage, the corporations who support this garbage, and the politicians who try to use it to their advantage in order to attain higher office that we do not kneel and we will not take this shit anymore. Thank you, my brothers and sisters in the chat. I am the Fandom Menace historian, your historian, born in the chats of the Fandom Menace, along with my brothers and sisters who support the first wave voices of our Fandom Menace, those who fought against people in the entertainment industry using those properties, the things that we love, Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, and many others, to espouse their rhetoric, bullshit, and propaganda. If you have not subscribed already, please do like, comment, subscribe, get involved in the conversation, share this video, because YouTube does not like people who do not believe in this crap, and they do not allow the platform to support us. So we depend on you, my brothers and sisters. You are everything to us. You are the reason that we do what we do. Help us fight this culture war. Hail, wash your hands, wash your ass, be good to each other, and peace.